Hey, what's up, y'all? Hope you guys are having a good one. You saw the title. We're going to be talking about the Trials of Osiris update today. This video, I was going to come out with it over the weekend, but I thought to myself, you know what? For something like this, I'm actually pretty, to spoil, I'm pretty impressed. Honestly, this was way better than I expected it to be. And instead of kind of just coming out and giving my first impressions, I thought I would judge kind of community feedback on it a little bit and play a little bit more with it myself and, kind of take the emotion out of it. It's easy sometimes to say, oh, this sucks because my experience was bad. But, does it really suck or did you just have a bad experience? So I kind of wanted to take away some of those potential variables. But today we are going to be talking about it. I feel like I've got a lot of feedback and a lot of things to say. So let's just get straight into it. So if you've been living under a rock or just haven't been playing the game, I know there's a few of you guys who still watch my stuff and you don't play the game. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for your support. Um, the whole idea of this rework for Trials was to make it easier and more accessible for casual players to actually play the game and acquire loot. To make the game respect their time more. And if that's the only thing that we're judging this entire update on, then it is an unbelievable success. Like I was shocked with how good the experiences people were telling me they were having at the lower levels. Even just looking at the stuff myself and watching, I watch my IRL friend play a whole card, and he's a solid player, but barely ever plays trials. Um, it's just night and day difference. You can just hop in and play the game, do your best, and if you lose it, whatever, right? At the end of the day, we're playing Destiny 2. We're not playing Counter Strike. We're not playing League. We're not playing any of these competitive games. There should be a competitive aspect. Players should be trying to play to win in a fun competitive format. But at the end of the day, this game is not meant to be competitive. Have you seen the balance changes, which we'll talk about a little later? Um, yeah, I think it's awesome. I really do. I think Bungie knocked it out of the park, and I think they deserve a lot of praise. And I think they are getting a lot of praise for this. Doesn't mean it's perfect, right? There's still quite a few issues, which we'll talk about later. But in terms of setting out a goal of making the experience better for casual players, they have done that. And that's something that Trials has needed for a long time, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. Now, it's important to note that while my feedback and a lot of people's feedback for this is positive, this is just the first weekend, right? This is the first weekend. It's on a good map. So, how good is the experience going to be when the player base drops? The season just started, lots of people are here. How good is it going to be when the weapon sucks and the map sucks? And, top tier players are getting put in, long queue times and the 7 win pool. People abusing the system currently where, instead of, oh, I'm just going to throw my 7th game so I don't get put in the high tier flawless pool, right? These are all big issues that I think are going to become more of a problem throughout the season and are definitely stuff that should not be completely negated. Like these are huge issues. And I think it's important that the community, one, understands and respects that Bungie has come out with something really positive. And let's be very clear. Bungie did not really have to do anything like this. They could have just kind of kept the status quo going and changing the weapons out and maybe moving a few maps, and they didn't have to do this. They are genuinely trying to bring more people into the PvP experience, and I think that's great, and they deserve plenty of praise for it. We need to, as a community, give our thoughts and articulate ourselves in a way. Sometimes I know it's kind of ironic coming from me. Sometimes I can be a little heated, and emotional, and sometimes um, you know speak my mind, right? And I think Bungie are adults and they should be able to deal with that kind of criticism as well. But whenever they do good stuff like this and they're genuinely trying, they deserve credit. But we also need to make sure it's not just Bungie are amazing or Bungie are shit, right? When Final Shape came out, everyone was saying the game is amazing, the game is back, this is the old Bungie, everyone loves this. And then 1 month later, the layoffs came out and the content started slowing down. Everyone said the game's dead, this game's shit, Epic. What game are you playing next? It's not as simple as everything is amazing and everything is trash, right? And that's kind of the big point I want to come out with this, because I know there's a lot of casual players who will click on this video and immediately think, hey, this is a top 1% player. He's probably going to say this is shit and he should, play against top tier players all the time. We shouldn't be playing against this guy. And then there's some top tier players who watch my stuff and they're saying, hey, this just makes it too easy for the casuals and they don't care about the top tier experience, so there's so many different perspectives, and I don't want to see this update be a polarizing issue as a lot of things in the current climate are. I want to try and be as direct and honest about the good and the bad. And I know we're 5 minutes in the video, right? And I'm just saying that, but I really think it's important when giving our feedback. It's not as simple as everything's great or everything's shit. All right, so I've yapped on long enough about how I'm going to be giving the feedback. Let's actually give the feedback. So, just to kind of set the stage, I played solo queue only this weekend. I played about 10 hours. I played on Friday and Sunday. Both were different experiences, which I'm going to go into here. Friday was better than I thought. I thought Friday, it just came out. It's gonna be really sweaty. I get my win streak early, and I'm just gonna be playing sweaty game after sweaty game, and the matches are gonna be unfair and unfun. I'll be playing against 2 stacks, 3 stacks. I did not play a single 3 stack as a solo queue in 10 hours of playing, and that was honestly the thing I was most worried about. Is that going to be an issue going forward when the population gets lower? Probably, and that shit's going to suck, right? So I don't want to say, oh, it just wasn't a problem at all, because it might be a problem later. It just wasn't now. Which 10 hours of gameplay, that's a pretty big sample size. I'm curious if any of you solo players played anyone 3 stack at all, because I played quite a few 2 stacks, especially later in the week. I played more 2 stacks, but on Friday it was actually mostly solo queues. The problem was I just played kind of the same people over and over again, and I think that is kind of the biggest issue with this system. Is it kind of gets better as the week goes on. So the Friday experience, because of the matchmaking systems gating people away, if you play at reset and you get your 7 wins, and even more if you get your 7 wins in a row early, the amount of people that you can actually play against is going to be pretty low. And you might not have super long queue times, but you're going to be playing the same people over and over again. And that's kind of a little bit of a problem I have with Bungie. I would like to see the 7 win streak pool, right? Where it's like, if you're on a 7 win streak, then it gilds your card, right? Your card is done. You can't reset it. You can't do anything like that. And you get, you know, every once in a while you'll play against people who also have that card. And it's supposed to be something where, hey, this is like the best of the best. You get more loot and whatnot. I didn't get that vibe from it. It kind of just felt like another game. Like, you get that insta queue and you'd be like, oh, okay, well, these guys are kind of, going crazy. Maybe they could add something like a Saint 14 line, be like, oh, Guardian, you are the best of the best, some crazy like that. I feel like that system should only come in to play later in the week. And even maybe the 7 win aspect of it maybe has some sort of grace period. I don't know. It felt okay. I worry for whenever the population is lower, and we're gonna have weeks where I'm just playing the same people over and over again, and I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to talk and give predictions this far, in advance. But I think maybe I'm just a cynic, but I feel like this weekend of trials is probably gonna be around the best it's ever gonna be. Unfortunately, besides the meta, right? Which I will talk about a little later. The meta sucks right now. Let me be very clear. The meta is fucking horrific. Like, oh my god, Arc Titan, Invis Hunter, please fucking kill me. It's terrible. The weapon sandbox even feels kind of shit. Like, I got so many issues, but that's for another video. That's for we're talking about the trials update now. Or you know what? Actually, fuck it. Let's talk about the meta. The meta is dog shit, guys. Like, please tell me I'm not the only one who thinks that this is like maybe the worst meta we've had in a long, long time. Like, I'm thinking, you guys might say, Epic, you're talking crazy here, but I'm thinking like stasis, shortly after launch. Like, this is shit. Titans just hiding behind their little barricades, like Void Titans still really broken. I feel like, and maybe I'm biased here saying this because I use Cold Isle, but I feel like the 340 pulse rifle nerf has just made 120 hand cannon so much better, right? Like, I think 120 hand cannon is just a huge outlier. on PC at least. I don't know about the console landscape. 540s, I think they're 540s, lightweight frames. Those things are fucking stupid because you just put all the broken ass perks, power creep perks on them. And you don't put them on Golden Isle, but whatever, man. But it just, the primary weapon sandbox last season actually felt really, really well balanced, and now it just feels kind of shit again. And I know it's only been one weekend, and it's my experience, and I want to take into account my biases with the weapons that I use, but it just doesn't feel good anymore. Like I felt like they were making really, really good progress with it, and now it's just kind of shit again. Maybe that's just me, but what do you guys think about that? I think 120 hand cannons and 540 pulses are just huge outliers right now, and are in desperate need of, maybe not desperate need, but I really don't know what they could do about it. Something feels off. I can't really put my finger on it. It doesn't feel as good as it has been. So let me know what you think about that. But the abilities, man, like Hunter, take away Radiant Dance Machines and all that. On the Prowl, giving 3 fragment slots, you know, is just ridiculous. Like, I'm just the Pink Panther the whole fucking game. I'm purple for the whole game. you know? And I look at my teammate, oh, yep, all right, he's Pink Panther too, man. Like, I'd like there to be, uh, I don't like seeing myself be purple the whole time because I think it's a broken ability, and it kind of just pisses me off more that I'm always purple and I'm always having to deal with it. I don't know if any of you guys noticed that too, but On the Prowl is just so fucking stupid broken. Like I was saying it before, like, and the crazy thing is, no one's really talking about it right now because of Arc Titan, and Arc Titan's really broken because of the artifact perk that does something with the bolt charge. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but it makes it really really strong. And then Void Titan has always been strong, just because, especially in a meta when you kind of like nerf a lot of the ability spam stuff, which is noticeable by the way. I will say the nerfs to just overall ability cooldowns have been noticeable in my opinion. I've seen a less brain dead Arc Warlock slide activity, and kind of just throwing abilities everywhere. So that stuff has helped, but it really is just a shit meta, guys. Like, please tell me I'm not the only one who thinks this. I don't want to yap too long about it because this is an update on Trials, but I would argue that the meta affects the whole Trials experience. And if you are completely changing the Trials environment to make it so you want new players to come in, if the meta is consistently this fucking shit and you don't update the game anywhere near as often enough, and when you do update the game, you just add more broken shit. Like, I understand metas should be metas. There should be, new different things being played, but there should be kind of an interesting, fun it shouldn't just be this is the best thing and everyone should run this, in my opinion, at least in a perfect world. And I know game balancing is hard, and I'm not a dev, but come on, you could do better than this shit. Everyone could have told you On the Prowl is gonna be broken in PvP. Like, oh yeah, you just get a kill on someone and a fucking smoke cloud spawns on their revive. Like, come on, man. What's who allowed that shit to make it through playtest? And yeah, let's give it 3 aspects. In PvE, people aren't even fucking using it, in my experience at least. So I don't know, man. It's just frustrating. I'm not gonna talk about the meta anymore. We're just gonna talk about the Trials update. So sorry for that. Okay, so another issue that I want to bring up in regards to Trials and the new player experience, especially in these earlier weeks, is the light level issue, right? Trials is still light level locked. So if a new player just bought the DLC, the update, not the update, the Steam store was selling, the crazy deal of like all the old Destiny stuff. Like, I think you could get the final shape and like all the season stuff and all of the old season content, like Witch Queen and all that stuff. I think you could get it all for like $45 or something, which is an unbelievable deal. And a lot of those players who would come in and be like, yeah, I'd want to play some Trials, the light level issue is still a problem. And I feel like this year, the Pinnacle grind has just sucked. Like, if you don't play raids and you don't play the dungeons, you aren't leveling up anymore. Like, you aren't getting past that Pinnacle grind. And I loaded in week 1, and there were a lot of bugs, and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. I don't feel like playing. Like I tried doing the Excision mission and I got error coded twice at the Witness. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not farming for BP or BPs. I've been playing too much Rust. Sorry. Um, I'm not farming for pinnacles. And when I played, I noticed it. I was getting, even just like three, four, five. Like I'm pretty sure on paper it shouldn't be that bad, but I was noticed like even the small differences made a big deal. And I wish they would. I don't exactly know how they would do it, but I wish they would make the pinnacle grind aspect of it less severe. I wish they would make it more where it's like, hey, if you hit the soft cap or uh, I don't know what terminology they use, but like if you hit 2010 light, then you can just play trials at a certain level. The pinnacle grind being a factor in trials just kind of sucks, and I don't really think it's necessary anymore. And it is a big issue for it was an issue for my IRL friend. It's an issue I think just in general for the general population. And maybe you could say, okay, we can fix the current pinnacle system and that would make it better, but I would just like them to get rid of it. I think it's something that is just outdated in terms of its use in the game. Like I understand why it was a thing at the time, but they should just get rid of it, or at least make it a lot more favorable for people. Because I shouldn't have to go play all this bullshit PVE stuff to play PvP. There's all these PvE players who wanna, I don't want to play PvP to play PvE, and that's fair enough. You should be able to choose how you want to play the game, and you should be able to level up in both ways. But it feels like the current pinnacle grind, you have to grind PvE, and it just kind of punishes players who just want to go into PvP. So I don't know. Maybe I can understand if you disagree with me on that opinion, that you should have to play some PvE and grind, and it's part of it. But I don't know. We've been doing this shit for 6 fucking years. Actually, has it been 6 years? Yes, 6 years. And I'm just over it, dude. I really am. I'm fucking over it. Another thing I kind of want to talk about is the changes to the zone point. They made it so it spawns later in the round, so you can't cap the zone later on, and they also made it so it takes a little bit longer to cap. And I've definitely noticed as a well abuser, yes, I'm a well abuser. I'm used to it being a free round that I can't kind of just go in and hover around the point, just plop my well. And in terms of the balance for the game, I think that's a good thing. I think it's definitely better in terms of that. I will say the game does feel a lot more passive now, and I'm not sure. Maybe that's just the meta, but I'd like to think that the zone changes have also played a factor in that. And I don't really like the passive play. Maybe you could say, oh, that's because you play aggressive with Fighting Lion and you want people swinging you. Fair enough, right? But I don't know, dude. I think Destiny is best played when it's kind of dynamic and fun, and I don't know. I'm not. It's not all good and it's not all bad. It's kind of just like fixed some problems and added a few other ones. Just based on this first weekend. So that's another thing. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Did you notice it in your games? Did you feel like there was kind of a slowdown in the way the game is played? And on the prowl doesn't help that. Because people are just going invis and demon flanking around the whole fucking map and not playing the game and hiding and getting over shields when they kill you when they're low HP. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna stop complaining about Void Hunter. I'll stop. I promise. That's it. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Trials does feel different, and it's not just the matchmaking changes and stuff like that. The game itself feels very different than it did last week, and not necessarily all good different, not necessarily all bad different. Um, Curious what you guys think about that. And yeah, those are kind of the main points I want to go over. But while I was talking, not while talking, while I was playing the game, I just put a little notepad on my right monitor, and you guys probably know, like, I'm a fucking spaz. Or ADHD, my attention fucking sucks. Like I'm kind of all over the place in the way I articulate myself, but that's just who I am, right? So when I was playing, I just have a little notepad on the right where I can jot stuff down while I'm playing, and I've kind of modeled the video around this. Um, but I haven't touched on pretty much everything. Honestly, most of the points, actually, looking at this again here, it's kind of just complaining and crying about the meta and people just playing passive and not playing the game. and playing their KDs, because now it's, higher skill based matchmaking people value success based on their KD, not based on the actual value that they provide their team. Like my KD was way down this weekend. I think I was like a 2.5 or something. Like I don't know. I was way down on my KD compared to normal. And it's not just because I was playing better teams. It's because I felt like I was, and maybe this is biased, right? But I feel like a lot of people weren't going for the actual right play. They were just kind of scared and wanted to play for their stats more. And they were more worried about, oh, I'm just going to bait this guy and not go for the point here and actually play the game, which is kind of just a problem with Destiny in general, and has really been a problem ever since the March 5th update, especially. Um, that's something I'd really love to see changed. I don't really know how you change that. It's not really something developers can do much about. It's more of just a problem with the players and the mentality and the kind of people who play this game. Um, yeah, that's kind of always been a problem with Trials, but I noticed it more in these kind of lobbies, and it's really unfortunate. But I don't think there's really much we can do about it. But yeah, I've yapped on long enough about just random things I can think about. Let me sum up my opinions here. And this could be a big summary. We'll see. You'll know how long is left on the video for how long it is. But the Trials update was good. Really big step in the right direction. However, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I think as people kind of understand how it works more, we're going to see people abusing the system more. We're going to see people, resetting their card on 6 wins and, playing with their friend, who hasn't played in a while, or hopping on new accounts, and, finding, Destiny community, and any community in gaming, but especially the Destiny community, is going to find any way they can to get an advantage. And I really do think this Trials format and formula is going to really be ripe for a lot of people taking advantage of the system. And it's going to be interesting to see how Bungie combats that. Um, but overall, this is a huge W. And for those top tier players of you guys out there, kind of like me, who or hate the new skill based matchmaking and stuff, and it feels like you're just playing sweaty. I know it fucking sucks, man. I know it does, because the reality is, as a top tier player, some people just say, "Oh, it's you should be playing against top tier players." The reality is, top tier player, you're not necessarily playing top tier players in the higher brackets. You're playing people who are abusing the fuck out of the meta and making the game just terrible to play. And it's even worse when good players abuse the fuck out of the meta and make the game terrible to play. So, if you're one of those people who aren't a top tier player, keep that in mind whenever you say next time, "Oh, you should just play the top tier players," because it's not black and white like that. And I do think the top 1% experience was kind of put on the back burner for this, but I think it's okay. I think that's okay for the start. The whole idea of this update was to make it easier for people to come into Trials, and I think they have done that. Now, it's important that over time we give feedback and hope that Bungie can improve the system for all players, because I do believe that there are a lot of instances here where you can make the top tier players experience better while also making the low tier players experience better. Like, it doesn't have to be either or. You can have both in a lot of different ways, such as the 7 win shit that I was talking about earlier. Really don't need that. The flawless 7 wins where you have that one game that's like super sweaty and slows down your queue time a little bit. Yeah, you don't really need that to make everyone happy, and it feels kind of half baked in. If they want to go all out and really make it like, you've got like a gold hex around your character or something, or like, there's different sound effects in the game. Like, if they want to add some lore implications and stuff and make it kind of feel more intertwined with the game, I feel like that would make it a lot more exciting, especially for you guys, who are lower skill players. You probably enjoy watching those games. It's like, oh, is this a gilded match? It's like you're playing good players and it's a gilded match, and Saint 14's hyping everyone up and shit. I think that's more of what I would expect from this system. Right now, it just feels like this is a way just to kind of screw over top tier players a little bit and isolate them even more in a system that I feel like already keeps the not shit players. I want to say shit players, but the casual players away from the top tier players. I feel like they've already accomplished that. I'd like to see some changes to that pool, but I doubt they're going to do that. They've already coded into the game. Whatever, it is what it is. Um, but besides that, I think it's good. The meta sucks. Trials update's good. Let's see how it goes in the coming weeks. If it gets terrible all of a sudden, then I will make another video on it. But I've yapped long enough. Yeah, if you've made it to the end of the video, thanks. I hope I hope you enjoyed these styles of videos. I know some people don't have the attention spans and shit for some of this stuff, but the kind of idea I kind of just like to make these videos where you can just sit and listen to me talk about shit. A little bit of gameplay if you're into that and you want to watch something. But at the end of the day, I just want to talk about shit in a non-formal way. I don't want to act like I'm a big hotshot YouTuber or anything like that, because I'm not. I'm just a fucking kid who plays a non-competitive game like Destiny 2 and just wants to talk about it because I think the game's fun. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. I appreciate it. Lets me know if you kind of like this kind of stuff. If there's less likes on this, then maybe I'll do a little more, less rambly, more focused video next time. But until the next time, yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I will see you later.